We've heard a lot about cyber terrorism, heard a lot about what's happening out there. We haven't heard from any victims. We're now going to hear from the face of the victim. Paul Harris is the Managing Director of Secarma. You've been a victim of not but one attack, but two attacks, one bigger than the other one. It's
embarrassing, isn't it?
It's not like you're working for a security company, is it? Oh yeah, you are. But no, you've got personal experience of what happened to you.
Yeah.
We've heard a lot about ransomware. You got your first-hand experience because you're the victim of a cyber terrorism attack. Just tell us about the first one, which was the smaller of the two.
Yes. In a previous life, so I spent all my life in my career in technology, and large parts of that in the software industry. And it was in one of my previous sort of software companies. The first one was it was a ransom attack, but it wasn't ransomware. So it was an email from a chap called Sergey in Russia, who sent a very brief email saying, "Pay us £1,500 in Bitcoin, or we're going to start attacking your website. You've got 24 hours." I almost dismissed it as spam, but I didn't. I sent it on to our CTO, and we sort of scaled up we sort of prepared for the hit, and then we got hit, and it was a DDoS attack, which is essentially where an attacker points thousands, sometimes even millions of devices at your website and tries to overwhelm it with traffic to take it down, so it just falls over. And they carried on relentlessly for a week, trying to take us down. We were able to cling on just about. It seriously affected our ability to trade, but we didn't completely fall over, and we didn't pay. But that was the first one.
See, I don't know. I mean, there's this theory that people who've been a victim of cybersecurity attacks don't want to admit it. If I asked for a show of hands now who's been a victim of a cybersecurity attack, I'm not sure how many hands would go up. What I do wonder is if you are the victim of a cybersecurity attack, what do? Do you phone up the police and say, I've been the victim of? What did you do?
So the police have a website called Action Fraud. So that's the place to report it to in the UK. There's a specific one for ransomware. The European Cyber Security Commission, I think they're called, have a website called No More Ransom. So there are places to go to pass on the details, so that the names, the email addresses, the IP ranges of these attackers, you can share that, and then that can then be built into sort of defensive security products.
The thing is, you can't do anything to stop yourself being approached, for sure. It's like, when you hear these people and they get these lottery scams, the moment you respond to one, your details go on like a mailing list, and it becomes even worse and worse and worse. The second attack was an attack on a product, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And as I mentioned, it's before you joined Secarma, but you've got the experience of knowing what it's like to be on the other side of the fence, which I think is helpful. Tell us about that one.
Yeah, so ransomware attacks are very noisy attacks. This is someone sort of getting a member of your family with a shotgun and saying, "Pay up, or else I'm going to pull the trigger." So they have to be noisy. Most attacks actually are much more stealthy. These are people coming in the middle of the night and stealing your jewellery. They don't want you to wake up, so they want to just sneak in through the back door. So the second attack was more like that, and this was someone phoning up the business, which we'll call Softco for legal reasons. And they phoned up pretending to be a customer, learnt about the product, found out that actually this product would store lots of very important personal information about people. A database full of names, addresses, national insurance numbers, passwords, passports, driving licenses, lots and lots of very, very good information. The salesperson followed up, sent them an email, sent them a case study from one of the biggest clients with the name of the contact in that organisation. The attacker then contacted that person in our customer's business and sent them an email that looked very much like Softco's email. It was very convincing as an email. It says, "You need to log in and update your security. There's a critical security update required. Log in and do it." Link sent them to a front page that looked just like the product. Front page, login details, identical. You couldn't tell the difference. They went in, put their information in. Of course, the criminals then got that detail. They were able to then log into the product, access all of the customer information, exfiltrate that. And this was a large company with thousands of employees. Take all of that data out. But it got worse, because then once they're in the product, they were able to use form fields, so where people would type in name and address, actually do a SQL injection, so write command codes into those fields, which instructed the server to then allow them access. They were able to get in, pivot onto other accounts, and then access other customer information. that was all done very stealthily, and the first thing you know about it is when it's all gone, it's too late.
I was talking to a cybersecurity expert, and they work with a Premier League club, and this Premier League club got targeted by cybersecurity terrorists because the watering system of the ground was all controlled electronically, and they said unless you pay us, we're going to turn the sprinklers on, and you won't have a game because the pitch will be flooded. You think, wow, it's just stuff you can't necessarily relate to. You think it's up there or it doesn't affect us. You joined Secarma. Just tell us a little bit about Secarma.
So Secarma is we are an offensive security company. So we are an international business. We've got ethical hackers in about 10 cities around the world, and what we do is we attack things on behalf of our customers. So we use all the same methods and tools of attacking a business's website, software, databases, infrastructure, Wi-Fi, products, and finding the vulnerabilities. We find the things that the black hat hackers are trying to find. And what you need to understand, really, I think the mentality that people need to have these days is you are going to get hacked. One way or another, it's going to happen. So do you wait for a cyber criminal to do it, or do you employ a company like Secarma who will come in and find all the same vulnerabilities and help you patch those, fix them? So we work very much on the side of the unknown. The defensive side of security is all about what people know, the types of attacks and malwares and bad IPs and stuff that you can build into firewalls and antivirus products and stuff. So we work very much on the unknown. Where are the holes in your business that could be exploited, and then we help you patch them up.
What I hadn't realised until I did my research was we've heard so many of these big high-profile cases where big companies get hacked. The vast majority of victims are the SMEs who can't cope with the consequences of being hacked. And the amazing statistics, 50% of SMEs pay ransomware, 74% of SMEs reported a security breach in the last 12 months. And I think I'm right in saying that 60% of businesses which suffered a breach went out of business in less than a year.
Yeah.
I mean, the SMEs, they're the main target because they're the easy target. Presumably.
That's right. I think it's easy to assume as a small business that this doesn't apply to you because the stuff that hits the press, it's about government espionage, it's Trump, it's email hacking at that sort of level, or it's large companies like Sony and TalkTalk, those sort of companies. So it's easy to think, well, it's not me, I'm not being attacked, I haven't got anything that's that valuable. But the reality is, particularly with ransomware, is most ransomware attacks target small businesses because they don't have massive security budgets, they don't have big security teams. So it's easier to get in, they're more likely to get paid, and they're less likely to report it to the police. So for a criminal, you're just more likely to get away with it. Things like WannaCry, whilst that made the headlines, and that was one attack, and it was very noisy, and every single newspaper talked about it. That seemed like a big story because it had the feeling of a coordinated global attack. But that was one ransomware attack. Last year, it peaked at 40,000 ransomware attacks a day. Something like 400,000 different malware variants per day being discovered. There's a significant amount of activity, and small businesses of every size are being attacked. So it is something that everyone has to move to the top of their agenda.
Does penetration testing, employing ethical hacking, that sounds expensive. Is it expensive?
Nope. No, it's very affordable, and it's a lot less expensive than being hacked or having your business taken offline. If you're an e-commerce website and your business goes down for a week, from a cash flow point of view, that could take you out of the business. That could completely take you out of the game. The thing with the security, it's always about sort of levels of appropriateness. It's impossible to be 100% secure. We've spent 16 years hacking into things we've never failed to hack into. Whatever they've asked us to do, 100% success rate. Nothing can be 100% secure. So it is about what's important to me, what's valuable to me, and how should I best spend the budget and resources I've got to protect that thing. Every single business in this room, I would guarantee, I'd put money on the fact, anyone wants to take the bet, that we could hack in, and if we wanted to, deliver malware or steal data.
I think I've got a bit of OCD at home, I really do. And I'm sure a lot of people in the room are the same as me. If I go to bed at night, I check every door, I check every plug, I check everything. You know why? Because the policeman said to me, he said that criminals are opportunists. What they do, they'll try your front door, they'll try your car, and if yours is locked, they'll go to the one next door as well. It's the same reason I don't wash my car, I don't hoover, I don't cut the lawn, I don't do anything. I said it to my wife, I said I'm pitting the criminal off. That's what I'm doing. She's still believing me. Is cyber security the same in the sense that if your system is secure, will they make a few attempts at trying to get in, and then if they don't get in, they'll try one that's a bit easier?
Yeah, all criminals are lazy. That's why they do what they do, and it is just about sort of levels of appropriateness. And as Graham said before, the majority of attacks that go on, they're not that smart. They're using malware that exists. They're attacking known vulnerabilities. Probably 90% or more of attacks that are happening fall into that category. So they're not particularly intelligent, these attacks. And if you do the basic things, if you regularly patch, if you upgrade, if you keep your antivirus software up to date, if you have a sort of email scanning software in place, you do penetration testing, you have backups, you do just the basics, strong passwords, different passwords for different systems, you will avoid most of this stuff. There's a small number of very, very clever cyber criminals out there who can hack into anything, and if they want to, but you can protect yourself from the majority of it.
Well, I'm actually a bit of a mind reader. There's 250 people in the room. I know that there are people in this room who've got house alarms with the passcode 1234. You know who you are, don't you? You know who you are, because people don't change, do they?
That's right. Yeah.
Don't try my house alarm at home. I can't change it, unfortunately. But the point is is it complacency? Is it laziness? And what would your advice be to people in the room? One piece of advice.
So, well, I listed a few before. The one additional piece I'd give is 80 to 90% of all attacks start with a phishing email. So run simulated phishing attacks on your staff. Do that quarterly and train your staff about phishing. And phishing and what you can and can't do, that's evolving all the time. So a lot of people know, don't click on links, don't open attachments, don't enable macros. There's one that's just come out recently, PowerPoint, where just a rollover, just hovering over the link is enough to trigger for the malware to execute. So phishing, I would say, is focus on that and train your staff.
Put your hands together for Lawrence, Martin and Paul. Thank you very much.